Well, so that happened. I find that I have a lot of feelings today. Maybe you do too. Joy, relief, confusion, anger, an edge of anxiety about those things that remain unresolved. And then again, joy. Here's the thing that I find I have the most joy about: the sheer normalcy of the election. After all the fears and all the uncertainty about the coronavirus and the mail-in ballots and breakdowns at the post office and fraud and Russian interference and self-deputized citizen poll watchers with guns and voter suppression and voter intimidation and Proud Boys and the ridiculous, shameful spectacle of a wall built around the White House, here's what happened. Americans voted in a peaceful and orderly fashion, and then we counted the votes in a peaceful and orderly fashion, and then we declared a president, as we always do. Y'all, it was so normal. After a run-up to the election that was as non-normal as anything I have experienced in my life, it was just so normal. I am almost tearful with pride at the civic ordinariness of my fellow Americans this week. The civility with which we voted, the patience with which we endured the agonizing slowness of the count. I want to lift up all the people who volunteered or signed up to be election workers in any capacity during this amazing election in the middle of a pandemic. So many people who gave so much time and energy to make this very ordinary miracle of American democracy possible in the middle of a pandemic. Y'all are amazing, whoever you are, wherever you are. It will be to the eternal discredit of the current president that he chose to so baselessly slander so many of these selfless citizen volunteers with sweeping accusations of criminal behavior. It is shameful beyond words. I want to lift up all the people who voted, who organized, who made phone calls and mailed postcards and had conversations, who helped people get to the polls, who together created the greatest voter turnout in American history, and the highest turnout percentage-wise since the year 1900. I'm very proud in particular of the efforts of this congregation. Our UUI The Vote team did remarkable work to get out the vote. Democracy is a core UU value. It is our fifth principle. So to everyone who volunteered and to the team leaders who worked very, very hard, thank you for helping us live into our UU values as a congregation. Here's something else that's bringing me joy, that we have the first woman as vice president, the first black woman as vice president, and the first South Asian woman as vice president. That for so many little girls, the horizons of their imagination, their sense of the possible has just been broadened. Representation matters. And here's something else that is bringing me joy, that the president-elect explicitly named trans people in his speech last night and pledged that he would serve them as their president, as he should. That the president-elect named institutional racism as an American problem and promised to confront it. That climate change is once again part of the national conversation as one of our most urgent challenges. And that we will re-engage with the coronavirus pandemic even as it surges to record levels of contagion, with scientists at the forefront of the efforts. But what brought me the greatest joy was just the ordinary, common decency that underlined the president-elect's words. Just decency. The president-elect urged an end to rancor. Would that it be so. And what follows is the ordinary common work of holding our elected officials accountable. Because we know that politicians make mistakes, and we know that our institutions fail us, and we know that power corrupts. And we know that racism has shaped our nation's entire history, and we know that the inequality of power and wealth and privilege is rampant in our country, and not everyone has an equal seat at the table of opportunity. None of us need to have starry eyes when it comes to politicians and their promises. Whether you feel joy or disappointment or indifference at the results of the election, the ordinary work you now inherit, that we all inherit as Americans, is the work of holding our elected leaders accountable for the sake of the common good. And it will be the same maddening, messy work it has always been. And what we inherit is the ordinary work of holding one another accountable as citizens. One thing the election made clear is that there are deep divisions in our country. Donald Trump didn't win the election, but 70 million Americans voted for him. Joe Biden won the election, but the predicted landslide, the blue wave, the national repudiation of Donald Trump, well, that didn't happen either. We remain a deeply divided nation. You may be feeling frustrated about that, or scared, or confused, or angry, or just plain disgusted. We may fantasize about escaping to a safer place, be it our safe circle of friends, to another country, or even to the surface of the moon, where there isn't this tension of divisions, where we all seem the same. But the reality is we are, in this moment, a country of sharply separate visions. And now we have the work of holding these different visions accountable to core American values of decency, of democracy, of fairness, and of inclusion. Those of us who identify as Unitarian Universalists are called to hold those visions accountable to our UU values, to the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to respect for the interdependent web of life, to compassion, acceptance, and peace, to justice, to liberation. We're hearing many calls right now for reconciliation, for healing, for bridging those deep divisions. I understand that. I get that. And in our haste to get to a place that feels more comfortable and less conflicted, let us not forget about justice and accountability. Those of us with a lot of privilege should always be suspicious of our desire to return to what feels like normal, remembering that for many, many of our fellow Americans, the state of normal has never been the state of justice. Let us have the courage to linger in our national discomfort, if it means we are all ultimately held more accountable to the greater possibilities of love and justice. This is the ordinary work of building a better future together, and right now it feels like hard work in this divided nation. But we can do hard things. So, this reflection is entitled, Now What? It's a title I picked some weeks ago, recognizing that I would likely have no clue what the state of affairs might be on Sunday morning, November 8th. And in some ways, we still don't know exactly what awaits us over the next few months. The election is over. President Trump has not conceded, exactly as he promised us he would not for the many months leading into the election. I don't know what problems will come of this. I don't know what remarkable acts and unprecedented events we will yet see play out, or what challenges we will face together. Now what? Now what? Is a conversation we may be having together for yet a long time. But here is my now what for today, Sunday morning, November 8th. Now, take a breath. Take a breath. Just breathe. Feel that in your body. Just breathe. The ordinary work of hope and accountability is waiting for all of us, but for this moment, just breathe. Breathe and feel your own worth in your body, this body that has a right to feel safe and cared for. Breathe and feel your connection to the ancestors. Breathe and feel your connection to the earth that nourishes and sustains you. Now breathe in rest for your spirit. Now breathe in life for your spirit. Now breathe in the possibilities of this moment, this ordinary moment. And perhaps we will find we are breathing life into something extraordinary. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.